for illumined life to be birthed into form. I am the truth. I am the light. Illumine, beloved divine.
So hello there everyone, and welcome to this video, which I promised to you all with the unification of the Elohim consciousness as well, who are the family of light, the holders of life, and tremendous body of knowledge through creation principles and the seed of life. So I was already in communion with them for quite a few days at this time. As you know, there's a lot of people meditating at this time globally. People ask me too if we and me and my group should do it. I'm going to tell you this. The way I feel these things is global meditations and people doing these group meditations are pretty amazing. But there are a lot of people, as you know, they're not as self-willed and self-initiatory in that sense. So they do need some kind of a pull towards like mastering how it is to come together and unite in a group. I'm not guided in that way specifically because when I record specific light activations and when I'm called to put them out, they sort of come organically, they come naturally, and they're sort of more like within this infinite field of pulsation that's always there. It's not necessarily bound to a specific hour of needing to meet. I do promote that. I think it's very important, but it's not the way me and my group do work. I always say if a body of 2 or even 3 people comes together, it's specifically good, you know. And when I do these things, these transmissions, I just do them in my own sacred space. I often do them together with my mother, who's also a pure channel for grace. And at that time, we really just do them like with deep connection and purposeful intent. And whatever something comes true that's very important, I also share it on Patreon with the group that's there and wants to do this work as well and somehow guided in this direction. And sometimes I share aspects here on YouTube as well with you when I'm called. So I do everything organically. I don't try to force myself into something just because other people are doing it. I know I'm a unique channel. I do my work. I was always like a free spirit. That's how I do things. That's how I'm called. But like I said, I do promote things like that. I do think it's important specifically because I think most of humans needs to learn how it is to come together and create a group body of work. However, when you think about the nature of timelessness, you know, even if you're just you meditating, whenever you tune into and you truly connect to the crystalline grid and the grid of the new earth and your focused intention through the coherence of pure thought, you're instantly connected with the group already. Whether you're joining a group physically at a specific time or not, you know. So there's always for those of you who are very deeply sensitive, when you tune into meditation, you will feel others, but not just others. You will feel the presence of Mother Nature, of other guides, of angelics, but also elementals, you know, all aspects of nature that work with us. And I prefer doing these things the way I'm guided, like I shared in my own space. Why this is important at this time specifically and why are people coming together in this way is also because we're all in a way, as you know, we're creating something new. There's a new cycle of creation coming. Some people are calling it the new point of initiation. Mostly the bigger initiation at this time is for the collective. The populace that hasn't even been aware of what's happening, and they're probably the ones, and they are experiencing the most fear, as you know. Those of you who aren't, I'm like, basically since this thing began, I'm more at peace than I ever was before, which is interesting, which is a sign of me doing my work. I've completed a cycle and now I can just really emanate this pure field of light. I will talk about this more. I re-entered this state of what is called the living light pulsar technology. It's a light body technology and it's a transference of pure light. I'll talk about it in the next video more. It's something that's really deeply close to my heart because it emanates from the field of life force group where I'm from, or, you know, my home, my group. So, yeah, I think whatever we do, will serve the greater good if we do it with our heart. We're still all programmed to go into the mind a lot, and even when these things are happening, we always think, oh, we never do enough, we can always do more, how can I do more? And that's again pushing yourself, and not necessarily you might do more. You know, I do a lot. I've worked 24/7 these days, and it was intense, truly. I didn't get much sleep. But at a certain point, when I feel the call, sometimes it can be like an instant shift. And my body of work will tell me, no, take a step aside. Because it's like, whenever you're creating something new, right, you don't go and poking around in it. It's enough for you to know that you've generated a sustainable amount of light quotient, which then needs to be allowed the freedom to breathe and move out into life. So today, when we're going to tune into this meditation that I will share with you, you can also know you can do it at any time. You don't have to follow the video or the audio specifically. You can then always enter this space in your own organic way. That's why I always tell people you don't need to constantly follow something. It's enough to get you like activated into something, and then it's like allowing life to happen organically. So we are now, those of us who are the first wave, or those people who are the second wave, it's like now calling forth and bringing this state of collective peace, like space of pure coherent thought, which I talked about in the previous video, and that will have enough light quotient that was already created in truth. That's how I see it, to sustain these people who are still very much in fear. That's kind of our job at this time. That's why people, and massive amount of people focused on the light communities, are coming together at this time to hold this space. But my group specifically, the way I'm called, we're always like a step ahead. So we're already preparing new fields of work. So that's why I'm now more focused on building this principles of the inner light technology, using the light body in inner intelligence, to kind of get the body to the next octave, not just vibrationally, but to become coherent with this next state of the transmissions that are coming through and onto the earth field at this time. So again, before we begin with the meditation, I want to say a few words about the earth. I've recently shared an image. I do every month a spirit drawing on Patreon, and this month's drawing was the planet Earth, making these new associations that we've talked about, like she's inviting them in, and these new energetic associations are helping the Earth to cross that threshold, because you know, Earth has around this field that we're all co-creating with her, this field that's organic, that's made of pure consciousness, and then there's this designed field that we often call the matrix, that's inorganic. And there's a lot of artificial intelligence now being forced into this field, because the prime desire is to override this organic intelligence, which those of us who really come from this pure conscious community, we know that's impossible. That's why we already feel this victory of the light. We know this stage has already been set. Everything is already as it is. But it takes time for that to unwind. It takes time for the organic life force intelligence to work its magic, basically. So us connecting at this time, the best work that we can do truly is first be connected fully with your own higher self, if possible with your oversoul group. This is something I'll talk about in the next video, and its importance for your purpose, and the transference of your unique light encoding. The second important thing is, of course, keeping your body vibrationally aligned so that you can do that you can withhold these frequencies, because a lot of them we're coming to channel at this time are pretty intense. So the body vehicle needs to be constantly supported, nourished, loved, fed proper food, given enough sleep, rest, sunlight. And it's also important, yes, to come together within a group and do these things. And then, of course, where your focal point of selfless service is, engage and join in that way, of course. So going back to this point of coherence that's important, is a lot of us have already achieved that. We feel like this state of pure connection with what's coming through us. That's why I feel such a state of peace. I don't feel anything bad at all. I don't feel any fear, because we already exist in that vibration. So people might say, well, then why should we even meditate? We're already here. Well, like I said, we're doing it to generate, and we're already always doing this, generating this, what I call the liquid light quotient, that's always sustaining the next stage and the next, because it's constantly piercing deeper and deeper as spirit is merging with matter, as this new light codes are coming in, and they're needing to penetrate deep and into every aspect of this life, which is organic. It's feeding the life sustenance of pure spirit, the design and the template of liberty and sovereignty for all, which is what we're going to do in the meditation, this state of pure freedom. Okay, so we're in parallel doing all these things like all together, right, simultaneously, and that's very important. But the next thing I want to talk about is beyond this point of coherence. It's like the point of coherence. Who talks very well about this? Oh, it's Stephen Greer, right? He has this ET community where they do this self-induced ET contact, right? When they're seeing these light ships, spaceships. When enough people goes into this specific meditation to invoke this and make this intergalactic communication, and then they will see visible amounts of like calling these energies in. So you see, that's kind of like that work that it takes a group of people. Sometimes it takes just a group of people who have the purity of the thought coherence, and then the heart-centered intention that follows that, and the feeling nature, so they can send the signals out and then equally receive them, be receptive to that. And the second important thing beyond this coherence is a point of unification that I've talked about in the previous video. What this means is just envision Earth in its grid, right? And she was always traveling. She was always in the movement. She was always like spinning around her axis and evolving, just like life on Earth was evolving. However, beyond all these positive influences that are purely benevolent and beings of light who've always had the highest intentions for the evolution of life on this planet, there's also intelligences that are malevolent. So the timelines that exist around this grid were a lot of times, for eons of time, being hijacked. What this means is that it kept like pushing this final like outcome, right, for this what I call a lumen union and the coming together and the victory of light and freedom and sovereignty for all. So it kept on pushing it further and further, and a lot of us, as a part of our life on Earth, we felt this. We felt like this constant prolonging, like trying to chase your own tail, right? And now at this point, what the Elohim family of light has shared with me, the most important thing beyond what we've already talked about, is holding the pure vision, is holding that intent. So instead of going, oh, what if this happens? Oh, look at these timelines. What if it's hijacked again? What if the darkness, fights back and this wins? And like the point of unification is where this victory of light over life, that life becomes pure light again. It becomes receptive to the light of creativity and immaculate design. It takes like pure vision, again, of that coherent thought to sustain that, which means it requires people, individuals who are committed enough to do this work. And then they're transferring that to others. They're passing it on. Life always evolves from the highest streams of light to that which we call the densest of realities, or densest densities, right? So it's in a way connected, that us holding this vision now is the most important, even with the crumbling apart, with the falling apart, with the systems dissolving, things falling. I've heard today these words like the fallen ones have fallen. That's what I've heard during my walk today. But it's not always as evident in what we call the 3D reality, right? It still feels a little bit of the fixed, and we're in this unknown space, like waiting it out, what will physically happen. We're not meant to do that. Those of you who are truly here as the support teams, the ambassadors of light, we are here now to hold this vision. And how you do that is constantly connect consciously to this organic grid of light, and building and putting your vision besides this global vision for this liberty for all, and putting also your input, because your individual aspect and your freedom and liberty to live and choose the kind of life you want, to live a life of love, creativity, and alignment with your highest potential, is a part of that. So it's not just light workers coming together, envisioning that for the whole and living this utopia of union and forgetting yourself. This is one. This is what union means. It's like your lumen union is the greatest gift to the union that's like coming, like a blossoming lotus that originates from that, okay? So in the midst of this falling apart world, and what we still envision as darkness and light, kind of like in this world, still kind of struggling for the grip, right? And a lot of it feels like it's like final grips coming apart. Those of us who are of the highest order here at this time, this doesn't mean in terms of positions and, anything like self-entitlement. It just means that we have this innate responsibility to the work that lies ahead, and we know it and we feel it, and I've talked about it in the previous video. So we have that vision now. We have to constantly attune to this. No matter how much time you dedicate to that, whether it's daily or not, I would prefer that it is, of course. It takes, again, an amount of our streaming, like we're, like you're downloading information on the computer. You're feeding it so much, and eventually the computer is full, right? And you get a full image as a result. It's kind of like that, but it's not artificial intelligence. It's like our consciousness and how to be used through the conduit of our body, through the heart intelligence, which is the purest and the most centered. And it pulsates much more coherently at this time, because we're already aligned with the higher frequency, higher dimensional activity of light present here than just the brain. And then the heart is informing the brain. We've talked about this already. So whatever is happening, our purpose, your purpose at this time, specifically if you're watching this, you're called to this, is to hold this vision beyond anything else. This is our greatest assignment now. We've done a lot of work to inform, to share a light, to do these things, and a lot of people are sustaining themselves through their work and their services, and that became a part of their only sustenance. And it's the same for me. I don't get anything else but from the work I do. So basically it can seem challenging because to just do this work, but it's like for this specific amount of time, this is the most important. And here we are. So Earth requires now, and I did this whole written form of this message on Patreon, is like requiring an amount of devoted individuals who would absolutely connect to and coherently join and envision this point of unification becoming the ultimate resolve, the final victory beyond all the timelines, because they're quite coagulated at this time. There's a lot coming out, and there needs to be like a wrapping up of a lot of cycles. Again, when you go back to the galactic perspective, it's very advanced understanding, but at the same time, all of this kind of needs to be streamed into one hub. If you imagine the center of Earth having this one hub station, and this is that point of unification that we're aligning with. And the drawing is there on Patreon. It's very simple, and yet it requires our focus. It requires us not to just believe in that and then say, well, it's already happening. And imagine being so concrete, so committed, that you're aware of your responsibility to the plan. You're not just waiting it out, right? So the meditation we're going to do together with the Elohim family of light, we're going to use, and that's why I don't have a need to do that daily, because it's already like beyond time. This is what we're doing, and you can tap into that organic transmission at any time of your preference, because that's basically what we need to learn, is become self-initiated, self-initiatory, independent, non-fixed, very spontaneous, right? And feel when the energy is best. Sometimes, when the time is too set in, you maybe are not at your highest in terms of your body, and then you're gonna, go out for a walk or have a run, and then you feel much better. You'd be like a higher channel. That's also very important for you as an individual to tune into where you are at the highest point of receptivity to be a channel or grace at this time. So that's also an important factor. So that's that, and now I would really like us to start with the meditation and message. Thank you. Take a deep breath and just welcome in the living intelligence of life. Welcome in the prime creative directive of all the life beings who have participated in the creation of this universe, of this galaxy, of the solar system, of this earth. Invite their presence in and feel their love in your heart. Take another deep breath now. And out. And ask to be aligned with the purest light of Holy Spirit. Holy Spirit, the essence of life, beloved Creator, Mother, Father of life, principles, the Holy Elohim, beloved light family, and all divine intelligences that are working in unity and unison of one great divine design and plan of perfection. We call for you now at this time to join us, to be with us, and to become a part of our support system here, now, and every day as we're walking this journey on earth, achieving a point of pure coherence vibrationally in our thoughts, in our heart space center, and the connectivity that we have with each other as one group being. We invite in the presence of the Christed beings and the light beings who serve the mission of the Christ through the I Am presence and the Holy Christ communion, the essence of cosmic Christ. I initiate this meditation and light activation now as a sovereign being. Call in the consciousness of your oversoul group, your light family, and all your guides, all your support team, all the angelics, the elementals, the earth herself, the living body consciousness of Gaia. Now let us for a while focus on the principles of life that are eternal. And let us focus on the intelligence of the family of light called the Elohim, and bring in their voice of truth. And as we do so, we align with this unified body of light intelligence. Beloved ones, once again we're gathered here together with you, and here we are, and here you are. This is a time like no other. This is a space of birth of such major proportions as never before. A lot of you might feel that because such a deep feeling of peace is present within you at this time, not much is happening. And let us say that this is not truly so. This point of peace affirms your complete attunement to the joyful state that we are all in at this time, that the earth herself as living consciousness is experiencing, and that your own higher aspects and our galactic aspects are also experiencing. So take a moment now to feel and breathe in this sense of pure joy. Take a breath in and simply affirm, I rejoice with the life that is sovereign, pure, and divinely intelligent. We are assuring you that the way you are guided is always the right way, even though there are times when you would have doubt about that process. There is nothing specifically special about what you need to do at this time to be of better participation. And yet, at the same time, the highest gift you can give to life at this time is to become a living life force intelligence, which is utilized through the principles of life that already exist and live within your seed of life. This is the purest point of immaculate design within you. that you're always accessing without even consciously knowing, because it is so deep, it bypasses even that which we call the conscious awareness. It is the deepest pulse of life that is ever present and always there. And that is why, for those of you who've moved into this threshold point and are already feeling and finding yourselves to be on the so-called other side, or in truth there are no sides, just a space of consciousness and light intelligence, but you are feeling something different. You're feeling more at peace than ever before, and you might ask yourself, how come with so much happening? How can I be so peaceful? This is because you're the ones who are ushering this threshold essence and bringing it back to the sphere of reality on earth, so that it can be presented, demonstrated, and known to all who are ready and susceptible at this time and in times to come. Not much of what is unfolding, as you might say, physically at specific points of density that sometimes feel still very uncomfortable to you all is up in your hands, or only up to you. That is why we have already stated that holding this vision for the new orchestration of light through the point of unification with earth, within yourself, and within your group body as one group of beings who are here assisting at this time, this is now of major importance. Many of you might get resources and information that is very complex at this time, and at the same time you feel a little withdrawn from that complexity. Trust that feeling. At this time, the living light intelligences that are your families and your light teams are working very intensely with you to bring about this change, not just vibrationally, not just increasing the vibration in your physical vehicle, but also to align with that which is of that which we call beyond the threshold, beyond the point of unification. The best way to demonstrate that is to engage in this meditation and light activation together. Let us now join in as one group, consciousness and body avatar, in a way that is very simple. Dear beloveds, now take one deep breath and just feel that you are a part of life that is ever present, and no matter what happens physically, that which you can detect with your physical senses, no matter what that might be in this moment and present itself to be to you, there is this living sustenance of life that is always pulsating. Find that space of consciousness within you now. Or simply affirm, I am the seed of life. The purest light intelligence of Holy Spirit life force lives within me always. It is beyond anything that I am on other levels. It is the primary impulse of life that sustains me and all of life. And as this is so, all life is sustained through me. This is how you become aware of how deeply of a creator you truly are. A lot of people on this planet, as you know, they're not in their creatorship, manifestation, and embodiment yet. They have given their power away to something else outside of themselves. And that is why those of you who are consciously in this state and in this space are so needed and required. Not necessarily to do more than others, but to do it more consciously. To do it with more joy and with the alignment with that which is and lives and breathes already in this point of unification. Now let us create this vision together. Now. See, feel, and visualize now a group body of light that consists of both physically incarnate light beings and light beings who are not physically present on earth, but are a presence around the field of earth and beyond at this time. Imagine how this unanimous and unified group of beings are holding hands across the planet until the entire field of earth, her entire toroidal ring, consists of these beings who are holding hands and conducting currents of life force through the planetary consciousness. Imagine that all of these influences and influencers are weaving a new web of light, which is crystalline and organic. And you can also visualize it as gold and infinity symbols that interject, interlock, and interloop within each other. Now, as this group stands together in this way, building a circle of light, imagine now that in the center of Earth, right in her core, there is the Earth with her new seed template of Illumined Union. And this template is so beautiful, so organic, and so profound that Earth has never experienced before, that you as humans on Earth have never experienced before. Some of you who have been a starborn light beings on other systems of life sustenance, you've experienced this before. Many ascensions. And yet none of you have experienced it here on Earth. So feel the feeling of something new being birthed. Breathe that sense of new life into your heart now. And say or affirm, I align fully with life. I bring life to myself. I bring life to Earth, to the planet, and to all the people of Earth. Now imagine how this is done. You're giving your sacred breath of life. You're giving your purest impact simply by giving the gift of your breath to the core of the planet. Your own contribution, your own seed, your own template. And Earth feels this, and she starts to pulsate more. And she responds, and now visualize a pure golden white fire, sacred fire of Earth, coming outside of her core and weaving around, and eventually emanating from the core throughout the entire planet, until the entire planet is engulfed in the seed of life consciousness. Now see how that spreads around the entire crystalline grid, which all of you as beings of light are holding together. Take a deep breath and simply affirm, I align now with the crystalline grid of the new Earth, the space of pure co-creation where everyone is free, sovereign, and fully liberated. We are all here at this time with one unified mission to liberate the essence of life, to liberate the goddess aspect, so she can once more resurge in her new garment of light and join in the aspect that you all know as the God. So you're merging the earth and the sky, spirit and matter. See as you align yourself with this, that the entire grid of light starts to pulsate even more, and it starts to become aware of your conscious input. It starts to vibrate more extensively. And now put yourself in a specific position on Earth, on this planet, at this time that feels like home to you. Whether you do that in resonance with a particular feeling or a visualization, you might even imagine a beautiful space that feels good and resonates within your heart. And affirm that as your sacred space of creativity, of the new, when you're entering this new co-creational space that is of the living life sustenance. And when you find this space, it's like all of us are creating one giant beehive of pure golden light. In this moment, take a deep breath again and affirm, I envision the highest possible reality based on freedom, liberty, and sovereignty for all, for myself and all life. Now merge that with the core of the planet. Bring that as the sacred deposit of light to the core of the planet. And now we will unanimously affirm 3 times the words freedom. Are you ready? Take a deep breath. Freedom. 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 Feel the essence of freedom expanding through your entire body, through the grid of your own body, through the light field of your body, sustaining your life force as you then reverberate it back and sustain the earth and the planetary consciousness and the human consciousness collective. Feel it running through your veins, your nervous system, your entire body, your every cell in the body. Feel it reinvigorating you, re-alivening you, recalibrating your entire light field. Align with your light body fully and affirm again, I am the freedom of life. All life is free. I am freedom. I am life force in motion. I am the living sustenance of life. I live my highest life potential, and that is my sacred offering to all of life, here and beyond. Now take that feeling deeply into your heart and feel how it is already to be in the threshold frequency, on the so-called other side, fully in your light body field, merge with your physical human body, experiencing yourself as an illumined human being. And within that framework, create a short visualization that you will send then into your heart directly, which is a vision for your highest life, which is what you would like to create in this so-called new light field, new earth, new reality based on freedom, liberty for all, and sovereignty of all life. Take a few moments to feel into that, and of course you can expand upon that later. Feel yourself bringing something special and unique to this planet at this time, and to others. It just might be a simple vision or something very profound. It matters not. It is all equal in the space of love in union. And as you do so, cultivate every day, bring back the vision, call it out. And again, through this meditative state of focusing on this conscious, organic, light intelligence, fuse it with the reality of all and all those who are already also co-creating this, each in their beautiful, unique way. And feel the fire of earth as her sacred fire igniting, which simultaneously ignites the fire in your heart, which increases your devotion, your knowing, and your freedom to create what you desire in this life and beyond. It is an intense time, but it is also the most beautiful time. And so it is. Thank you for being here. Thank you for your love and your input. May our co-creation be the best of you and the greatest gift to this world, as you're infinitely gifted back in return. Thank you. Yes. Thank you. I hope you enjoy that and may do that attunement whenever you feel called. I'm going to take a little break next week just to catch up with everything, and I'll see you as soon as I can. Again, as always, so much love is in power. Take care.
magical